Hey everyone, welcome to Back to Basics. This is Dr. Vivian Asamoah, gastroenterologist and functional medicine provider in Katy, Texas. This is our Back to Basics live episode 20, and we are talking about food labels today. And I decided just to sit in our kitchen office where we get a lot of reps bringing us different types of food. I want to make sure everyone can see me, bringing us different types of food and snacks. And I was just going to really pick from the sample we had over here so that you all could see, and then we can talk about food labels. So thanks. I see somebody out there. Thank you so much. I'm glad you guys are joining me. I was kind of tired. I was like, should I do this back to back? I wasn't sure. The elimination diet. Guys, I'm so tired. We just had a coaching call with our group and I realized I'm not eating enough. And so, I got the whole coaching, you got to eat enough, but it's tough because I can't figure out, I know what I can eat, but I don't have enough time to cook. So week one has been a challenge. I feel like I'm a lot more tired than I usually am, but I'm doing it. And you guys are going to see my weight tomorrow. I'm excited. So I'm going to keep going and we're excited about it. So food labels. So before we even get into food labels, I really want to talk about just even how to select food before you get into food labels, just grossly. So you want to definitely, when you're picking beef and poultry, you definitely want to go with no hormone, no added hormone or antibiotic, right? When you're picking eggs, you want to go with pasture-raised eggs. When you're picking fruits and vegetables, you want to go with organic and non-GMO. So these are just some basic things about putting these foods in your body, because over time there's something called biotoxin accumulation. And although the FDA approves small amounts of pesticides and says, well, nothing really happens, it's fine. When we've done sample studies with this population, we haven't seen anything happen. The problem is bioaccumulation of toxins over years. As you're eating more and more of these foods, it accumulates. And that's what causes problems, right? Especially with pesticides, fungicides and pesticides. So that's why you want to eat organic. And that's why when you buy your fresh fruits and vegetables, you want to rinse them off. What I do is I just put it under the sink, rinse them off. And sometimes I'll just pour a little bit of apple cider vinegar and just kind of soak it in a little bit, especially things that have, that don't have very thick skins, and I just rinse and rinse and rinse. So this is really important with fruits and vegetables. And so be careful where you buy your fruits and vegetables. And the way they categorize organic as well is like the different stores buy different grades of organic. I didn't even know this. They're like different grades. And the very bottom grade is sort of like the less organic and, has maybe some concentration of pesticides. And what I've heard is stores like Fiesta will buy those. And then when you go higher up into really, really clean or organic vegetables, we're looking at stores like Costco, Sprouts, and Whole Foods. So that's where and they're of course more expensive. So that's where you see the price difference. But I am a strong believer in farmers markets, right? Farmers markets, please support our local farmers. There are wonderful farmer markets all around. If you actually talk to the farmers, they can tell you what products they use. And a lot of them, of course, are selling organic fruits and vegetables. They tell you the processes they go through in terms of trying to make sure they're crop cycling, and also making sure that they're maintaining foods that are mineral and nutrient rich. So support the local farmers market, because I think that's the best way to actually get very organic fruits and vegetables, right? So in terms of food labels, really, really important. That's probably one of the biggest things that everyone should do, that you should be doing as an individual if you're paying attention to your health. If you're paying attention to your health, and if you're paying attention to your gut health, and if you're trying to restore that gut microbiome, and you're feeding a family, right, where you've got little kids, the one thing you need to do is read food labels. That's like step number one. And that's the reason why we say don't go to no fast food, because there's no food label over there. I mean, they just recently had them labeling food, but it's usually not on the packet, the brown bag that you take home, right? So you know that that's food's not going to be healthy, because if they really told you what was in the ingredients in those foods, you probably wouldn't want to eat them. So that's the first step. The first step to someone who's really healthy is the first one of the biggest things they do is when you see those people in the store, they're like this. What's in here? Oh my gosh, like, oh my, how many carbs? They're really reading and watching, every single thing on there. So that's number one. So when you look at these food labels, and I put some online actually, but I'm going to show you guys this one, right? And I don't know if you can see it very carefully. So we're looking at the label in the middle. And when you're looking at food labels, you kind of want to look at a couple different things. First, you look at the nutrition facts. And when you look at the nutrition facts, one of the most important things is to look at the serving size. Because you'll see it says 150 calories, right? But this is for a third of a cup. And this entire bag of Nature's Path Organic feeds a total of 10 people. So the serving size is so important, because that's actually what helps you determine, what is the actual caloric content, right, in here. And so what you see here in between the black bars, that caloric content of 150, all that information in there is per one serving size. And they usually start with the highest calorie first, right? So here, the first thing is total fat, which means that in this product, what we have is the fat concentration is, it's significant. We've got about 7 grams of total fat, right? Yes, 7 grams of total fat. And in this 7 grams, they break it up into saturated fat, trans fat, polysaturated fat, and monosaturated fat. But if you add them all up, they don't actually add up to 7 grams, because sometimes they leave out other types of fat. That's why sometimes you'll see total fat says 7, but if I add this, that's 2 grams plus, that's 4 plus 1.5, that's only 5.5. So what happened to the other 1.5 grams? That's because it could be like a fatty acid, like omega fish oil, like omega-3s and omega-6s. They don't always necessarily include all of that. But what you want to absolutely see when it comes to it, in terms of fat, is you want to see the saturated fat content, okay? And then they mention cholesterol as well. This one has 0. Then they mention, I'm going to jump right to the total carbohydrates, because you're looking at the 3 major food groups: fat, cholesterol, carbohydrate, and protein, right? And so the next food group here is carbohydrate. And it says 19 grams. There's 19. I wish I could show you guys this, but sorry, I had to do this really on my little phone. Total carbohydrate is 19 grams. Dietary fiber is 2 grams. And total sugars is 6 grams. So let's stop and talk about the dietary fiber. So what I learned is that, so your total carbohydrate is a combination of fiber and sugar. And your carb load, you always want to kind of restrict your carb load, because that's weight gaining. But when you have a good amount of fiber in the diet, in the product, you actually subtract that up. You subtract that amount from your carbohydrate. So here, total carbohydrate is 19 grams, but we've got dietary fiber of 2 grams. So the higher the dietary fiber, the better that food for you. So in actual fact, your total carb, they estimated, is actually 17 grams, right? So you want to subtract that dietary fiber. So you're always looking for products that contain more dietary fiber. And then it's got total sugars at 6 grams and 5 grams of added sugar. So there's 6 grams of natural sugar in the product. And then on top of that, they've added 5 grams. So that's a total of 11 grams of sugar. So when it comes to sugar, I think the key thing that dietitians always say and nutritionists always say is try to avoid hitting double digits. Always stay below a 10. If you're below a 10, it's a good sign. And so you should be looking at this even on your dressings. As we're doing the elimination diet, we notice that, we're going for salad dressings that are part of the elimination, but sometimes they have about 7 grams of sugar in them. That's way too much. Way too much. Okay. So looking at that sugar content is important. And then protein, there's only 3 grams of protein in this product, and it's a coconut cashew butter. So this is pretty much high carb. It's got a decent amount of sugar in it. It's more than double digits, but it's right at that cutoff. It's got some fat. So we've looked at that. So something I learned in doing the research is right under that second dark bar, there's all this vitamins and vitamin C and D. Ignore that. The amount is so minuscule that it doesn't add any value to your actual food, your nourishment. So if you need a supplement, you need a supplement, but you're not going to get it from processed foods in bags, right? You want to be able to get your supplements through natural foods, right? Natural foods is what will give you the vitamin C, the vitamin A. And some people will use products like Juice Plus, where they actually have like the natural vegetables and fruits, and they kind of broken it all down, but they found a way to keep the nutrients and the vitamins in there. So some people will use that, but don't rely on what is actually added into a processed food like this. So now we've looked at the nutrition facts, and on the side we can actually look at the ingredients. So those are the 2 things you want to look at when you're reading a food label. First, the nutrition facts, look at the servings, look at the portions per food group, right? Be careful of fiber. More fiber is great. More protein is great. Added sugar is a no-no. Stay away from double-digit sugars, so anything less than 10, 9 is fantastic. And then look at your ingredients. So I asked 3 dietitians, what am I supposed to do with the ingredients? And they said, if you have so many ingredients, the more ingredients you have, the more processed this food is. Right? So if you have a long list of ingredients, forget it. It's not a good product, right? Or if you have, a lot of them said, if you have ingredients that you cannot pronounce, like if you have names that you cannot pronounce, you don't want to eat it. If you can't pronounce it, you don't want to eat it. So what do we have here? Again, I'm still sticking with my Nature's Path organic ingredients I've got. And they say, oh, one more thing. The first ingredients that they write at the top that's the most in the food. That's the high, that is what is in the highest concentration. So if it says the number 1 thing is like coconut sugar, this is basically what it is, right? But this one says gluten-free whole grain rolled oats. And by the way, I'm not eating this. I know it's gluten-free, but I'm elimination and there's too much sugar in this. And then it says canned sugar. That's okay. Sunflower oil. That's okay. Cashew butter. Okay. Dried coconut, cashew pieces, sea salt, starch, coconut flavor, tocopherols, and then it says, which is vitamin E, and then it says it's organic, and it contains cashew and cocoa nuts produced in a facility. Perfect, right? Not a lot. All of the ingredients are names that we can pronounce pretty easily. They're natural products that exist. We know them. This is I think it's a decent product. So then I got this one. This is frozen. I found it in our freezer in the kitchen. It's probably been here since 2019, guys. I really don't know who's eating this. I'm very disappointed that somebody in my office is eating this. So this is Stouffer's Macaroni and Cheese. And they have their labeling a little bit differently. But the nutrition facts are back here, right? And I'll read it out to you guys. So this is 2 servings. And again, we're going to go and look at this thoroughly. The nutrition facts, you want to focus on how many servings. So it says per serving 340. 2 per container 500. That's a little weird. I mean, I don't understand. 1 serving is 340, but a second serving should be 680. Are they trying to trick us into thinking that there should be less calories if you eat 2? I think so. So be careful, because we can do our own additions, right? We can add this stuff, so we know. But in the first serving, here again, the first thing that comes up is total fat. And you've got 16 grams of total fat, and 6 grams of this is that saturated fat. And then you got so you got to watch salt still. You got to watch sodium, right? If you're someone who has heart disease, high blood pressure, liver disease, basically you got to watch salt, especially added salt. There's a lot of added salt in frozen frozen food like this. So you got to watch to give it taste. You got to watch the added salt. And then total carbs, 34 grams. That's a lot. Dietary fiber, 1 gram. So total carbs ends up being what? 33 grams, right? That's a lot of carbs. Total sugar and the mac and cheese, Stouffer's mac and cheese, 3 grams. There's sugar in here. There's no added sugar, which is good. Total protein, 14 grams. So that's good. That's the cheese. But if you're dairy intolerant, lactose intolerant, you've got casein and whey issues, this is not a good option. I mean, it just really doesn't have a lot. It's a lot of carbs. And then the ingredients are on this side, and this is what's really, this is how they write it so small, you can barely see it. But these are the ingredients on here. And if you look, it says, so the first thing, the highest thing is cooked macaroni with water, semolina wheat gluten, skim milk, water, cheddar cheese. Then it's got that annatto color that has, a lot of people don't like that annatto color. There's a lot of controversy as to whether it's actually good or bad for us. And a lot of people think it's not that good. They've got cheddar club cheese, more salt in here, and bleach. It's a lot of flour. It's a lot of wheat. And then they've got vegetable oil. Be careful with the oils, guys. You want to make sure it's a good source. This is not a good one. It's got xanthan gum, which some people are sensitive to, and lactic acid. This is really to preserve it, and calcium lactate. So it's got a lot of products. It's very high in, they add some vitamins, but the vitamins here we don't, don't pay attention to those. There's not much in there. I picked Bear. This is going to be the last one, guys. I wish I had meat product, like meats to show, but hopefully I'll put some online. I picked this and I want to show some snacks that appear to be healthy, but could be very deceiving. Bear, cinnamon apple chips. Nutrition facts. Let's look at this. So you're like, oh, this is healthy. It's like, dried fruits. So it's 3.5 servings per container, and a serving size is 2/3 of a cup. So that's 110 calories. And so that would be, you're looking at over 400, almost 500 calories for this. And this is a very small bag. So total fat is 0, and carbohydrate is 27 grams. And of the 27 grams, total sugars is 20 grams. So that's a lot of sugar. Pretty much all of this is just carbs and sugar. And the total fiber content here is only 4 grams. So much less than you would get in a fresh apple, organic apple, right? And protein is nil. So is this a good snack? No. No protein, not energy filling, filled with sugar, very little fiber, and nothing else. So it's really just, you might as well just eat, a chocolate bar. A piece of dark chocolate would probably be healthier for you. But here, when they say the bare facts, this is why we shouldn't get deceived. Read those labels. What's really in there? Listen, they entice you. They say, oh, baked crunchy, real apples. Ingredients, apples and cinnamon. Bare facts, gluten-free. Of course, it's gluten-free. Fat-free. Of course, it's a fruit. It's a fruit. Baked, never fried. No added sugar, but it's got 20 grams of sugar in it. Good source of fiber. There's like 4 grams of fiber. It's really not that great. And no preservatives. That is true. In the ingredients, there are no preservatives. So that's it for that. That's what I got today, guys. Read those labels. We put some online. We shared a couple in the office this week. Some have soy lecithin. We're seeing lots of different ingredients added. So the more ingredients added in that ingredient section, it's very processed and you want to stay away from it. Be careful with things that have, beautiful labels as organic and fresh fruit and this. Read those labels. Read the sugar content. Read the fiber content. Know what you want before you pick something at the store. So when you're in there, take a magnifying glass and read those labels. Guys, it was so nice to see you on tonight. I hope you guys can keep watching. It's 6:56, so I'm going to head home. I am going to try and have an elimination diet meal when I get home and hopefully get some rest. This elimination diet has been fantastic. I think it's just what I needed. And for those of you who are interested in the August group, please enroll because it's filling up fast. I don't think we'll have spots left very soon. Nicole has been amazing, answering a lot of questions, offering a lot of snack tips. Now, good snacks, healthy snack tips. And we are so excited to launch our next group. Please share this with friends and family. We were just brainstorming about this one, and that is knocking off your PPI in 30 days. I really wanted to launch this one. I thought it was important that a gastroenterologist really backs the importance of trying to wean off the PPI. But I also know that PPIs are helpful for some patients who absolutely need it. Like the indication is clear. If you have reflux, that the workup has been thorough. You've had your endoscopy. You've maybe had manometry studies to check your motility of the esophagus. You've had your pH studies. Like I just don't want to be just out there saying stop your PPI. I want to make sure you've had the right testing. That there's no clear indication, there's no family history of esophageal cancer, right? Before now saying, yes, let's focus on diet and let's kick this PPI out, right? So that is the next group that we are launching, Kick Out the PPI in 30 days. I don't know if we have a name for it yet, but we are working diligently to make sure we can get as many people off PPIs as possible because we are sick of hearing of the studies and the risks associated with chronic PPI use, right? Starting way from the gut microbiome to elsewhere. So hopefully that will be our next group. Have a wonderful evening, guys. Share this with friends and family and read those labels, those food labels. Bye-bye.